Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back. Thank you for coming into the Ancestral Sanctuary. Thank you for taking time to even watch or, be a part of the Aetherian Sanctuary. Ashe, Aho, and Amen. Um, we are going into speaking about the ancestral field, the ancestral shadow, working and sitting with the ancestors. And I don't know if you remember in the last video, I said note that word, the ancestral field. One thing that I am going to do and that I will do is take you through each parameter, okay? Everything that I teach, each parameter carefully so that you fully understand. If you're, especially for those ones that aren't able to pick up the computer and do their due diligence themselves. I don't want anybody to get anything misconstrued. So I go into compartmentalizing parts of what I teach in depth. Okay, that's just who I am. That's also how I raise my children. And it has been successful for me. I'm not the type of person, I know a lot of people say, you should be out here and making this money, I'm not about that. What Spirit has for me is for me. I'm not going to be chasing nobody around for no coin. I'm not going to have a bunch of people sitting around me for no coin. You feel what I'm saying? And only giving them a little bit of parts of this and that, enough to keep them in my pocket. I'm not that type of chick, okay? So you don't have to worry about that. But what we are going to teach is what Spirit allows me to teach and what Spirit brings me here to teach, okay? Because not everything that us elders know, okay, wisdom when you walk in the spiritual is not to, you know what to hold and you know what to keep per se, and you know what to release, okay? Because not everybody is ready for certain knowledge, okay? So in the first part of this series, I took time to explain a bit about the hows, the whys, and the whats that this series will cover, okay? We discuss unfinished lessons which move through the ancestral field, right? Remember I said, again, note that word in the last series if you watched it or if you were a part of it. And today we are going to go deeper, okay? I spoke about how the mistake that many people make, okay, just a little recap, is believing that they are separate from the ancestors, okay? That they're separate from the move of spirit within the earth, that it is outside of them, okay? Listen, that when people pass away, that they're just gone and we're never being able to touch them again or communicate with them again. And I always bring up the part in the Bible where Jesus was speaking. People bring that up all the time to people that were gone, and then King Saul, went to what they call us today, the witches, the seers, you feel what I'm saying? They demonize us to where he needed to speak to the prophet Samuel, okay? And she was shocked because of the glory that Samuel held, okay? Because a lot of times you do that work, and I'm just rambling right now, but a lot of times you do that work and what you see is like, whoa, that person, you understand their assignment that they did on earth and where they're at right now in the spiritual realm on their next assignment. Okay, all right. So you are not separate from the ancestors. Okay, you are a continuation of their story, and it's very important that you understand that you are the chapter, the book, the verse. Okay, that they never, the song, okay, that they never got to write. You are the play, the movie, okay, that they never got to write, the letter that they never got to write, the book that they never got to write. You are the prayer that they hoped would be answered. And I was so blessed to have and grateful to have my great grandmothers, okay? Both of them actually They understood their assignment. They did what they needed to do in this realm, but there were some things that they didn't do so well. You understand what I'm saying? Oh my God. And when it came to me, they nurtured me as much as they could, but they both let me know that I was a key, that I was an answered prayer. Okay, so amazing. It's like when you watch a movie and you see, oh, the prophecy and the great prophecy. You showed up like Narnia. Okay, they showed up. Oh, this was the prophecy. Whatever. But so it is important to understand that you are the correction of what went wrong. Okay, all right, and the expansion. And I said that in the last video, of what went right. And I just love that Spirit just dropped that up all in me like that. You are the correction of what went wrong and the expansion of what went right. And don't worry about my little hands, because I got to do my hands. But that's my business, okay? This is why, okay? Spiritual and generational justice. Okay, so we're going to talk about the ancestral field, and we're going to talk a little bit about justice and judgment as well. Okay, because all this correlates together and goes together. But this is why spiritual and generational justice is so important. Okay, it is also why, okay, you feel the pull to heal, okay, to save, to speak out against, and for yourself and for others, right? Something just don't feel right, okay? It is the reason why you have the unction to defend, okay, to stand firm, okay, to, so to speak, take no shit, okay? This is why so much turmoil also comes your way, because you are the one that it's in your face, but you ain't gonna let it play there. Okay, all right, there is so much to this, but it is important to know that justice is not revenge. Some people misconstrue that. Okay, it is not punishment. Okay, justice is balanced. Justice is alignment. Okay, justice is the action of you restoring a thing back to its proper order. Okay, some people misconstrue that. Okay, we see it today when people are trying to get justice, and it's a hard thing. I am one that is still fighting for justice for my daughter. Okay, but when you understand the things differently, I need justice for my daughter. You need to pay for what you did to her, but I'm not trying to destroy a life. That's not what we're not here. Do no harm. Okay, you did harm to my baby, right? But you need to be dealt with at the same time, but not I'm not doing it in a revenge, as a revenge or for a punishment. You understand what I'm saying? But that you follow the ways of the rules of the world, the rules of the spirit, the rules, and you took from what eye for eye, you took something from me, okay? And it needs to be, you need to either be honest and say you did it, okay? Justice is balance, and it balances the scales, okay, in the earth, in the cycle. Okay, when we take a tree, when we pull up a tree, we need to plant a tree. You understand what I'm saying? It keeps the alignment, okay, as well. And I'll go deeper into that, okay? But justice is the action of you restoring a thing to its proper order, okay? When something is disrupted, justice comes in to say, okay, now we're going to bring it back to its proper order. Okay, all right. So to occupy the seat of justice between worlds and realms. Remember in the last video I was saying that we now step, when we deal with ancestral or any kind of divinity, we are anchored on the earth, right? and in that realm and in the ether at the same time. And that's balance. When you're grounding, even you have teachings about the chakras and the root chakra, okay? And the root chakra, okay, there's just not the root chakra. It goes further down, okay, into root kingdoms, okay? And that what helps you to balance and to ground yourself and to shift. Many people aren't able to stay grounded in their chakras, period, because they don't understand and overstand the dynamic structure of the chakras. That's something else for another day, okay? But if you want to go deeper in that, you can take that, rewind this, take that tidbit and learn it on yourself, okay? So to operate, right, to operate and to occupy the seats, right, to sit in it, to rule in it. You are the king or the queen or the emperor or the empress, the oracle, the prophet, the priest in this seat at this time, okay? You need to understand, okay, that you are anchoring yourself, standing with one foot in the visible realm and one foot in the invisible realm. It means to refuse or refusing to become a prisoner of the ancestral wounds. Okay? You're in there, but you are refusing to become a prisoner to ancestral wounds. You're standing up. Okay? We got to rectify this. Okay? Okay? While also refusing, okay, to reject ancestral wisdom. There's that balance. There's that alignment. Okay? All right? And I will say that again. You are refusing to take on, to become their wound, right? Okay? We see what's going on. I see what I'm dealing with. I see what is in here. But I'm not going to become it, okay? Because becoming it just keeps the cycle going, okay? All right? But at the same time, I'm listening. I'm hearing. And if you're a visual seer, you are alchemist, because I like to call you guys alchemists. If you're a visual alchemist, you get to see it play out and get to look at it from each angle, okay? And walk with the ancestors and walk with your guides and walk with your spiritual team so they can tell you and give you what needs to be done, okay? Why this messed up, okay? It's very important. So you're not becoming the wound. I'm not adding fuel to the fire, okay? But I'm listening, okay? All right? I'm refusing to reject the wisdom. I'm listening, okay, to the wisdom, okay? This means learning how to carry the inheritance without being crushed by it or beneath it or allowing it to destroy you. And a lot of empaths and a lot of people go insane because what they're touching is too much, right? Or they took it too much. They became the wound, right? Be it of other people or whatever, and it crushes them beneath it, okay? What else do I want to say? It's like we discussed in the last video. The ancestors have their role, okay? You have your role. The ancestors, the divine, the spiritual team, right? Okay, God, Mother, okay, Son, Holy Spirit, all of that, okay? Okay, they did preserve memory, okay? And the ancestors may not just be, and we're going to get into that, your bloodline, okay? It may not just be from your mother, your father, or through that stream. You may be a scientist, right? So your ancestral team that you can tap into scientifically, right? You understand what I'm saying? There's elemental ancestors, okay? What's in the element, how this system flows, okay? But they preserve memory, okay? And us, you, me, okay, others, okay, are the living. We are the ones walking and breathing and creating the destiny. Okay. The ancestors provide the roots. Okay, this is where it stands, the foundation. Okay, and it's up to us to produce the fruit. Okay, it's very important. Okay, okay, it's like the blue being handed the blueprint, and somebody else building the structure. I drew this. This is what I drew. Okay, this is what I want it to look like, but I don't have the ability. I did, or I didn't in an ancestral space, but I didn't have the tools at the time, or I didn't grow, or I didn't do the right thing for this structure to be successful. And that's what we are learning how to do. There is a call within the earth for us to do this right now. It is, oh my God, it is so loud. Okay. And when either in this, when the balance is not properly, when one neglects its responsibility, there's the imbalance. Okay. And that's why this is so loud, because the imbalance within the earth, the imbalance within us living, right? It needs to be rectified. Okay. A bloodline only becomes healed when the living learn from the dead without becoming trapped by the dead. Okay. It is like when you have a child, okay, and you try to give them instruction because you do not want them to be trapped by the same thing that you were trapped by. Okay. All right. There's many lessons that one has to learn, but even if that cycle does come up to them, because life will be life, right? So you teach your children based on not to be scared of anything, right? But if this situation comes up to you, this is how you do thus, then the third. You feel what I'm saying? Okay. And what happens to many is that they do not know how to balance between realms. Like I said, so they get trapped and it gets stuck there, and then the cycle continues. Okay. Just like many times our children won't listen to us, and we try to tell them, right? Or somebody that you meet, you're trying to help them and teach them, but they won't listen, right, to that wisdom. Okay. They take on the entity or the wound or the atmosphere that they're in, and they get stuck there. Okay. Many people unknowingly sit in the seat of judgment. Okay. So we talked about justice. Okay. Now we're bringing judgment into the conversation. Okay. And then we'll flow into the ancestral realm conversation. Okay. Few learn how to sit in the seat of justice. Okay. Which I just explained, and why. Okay. Judgment is, you did it. Victim mentality. Who is to blame? Okay. Pointing the fingers. Okay. All right. All right. Judgment creates more wounds. I'm going to do this, and that works into revenge. Okay. All right. Justice speaks and must be restored. So you got judgment over there, creating the wounds, right? And you have and asking who did it, standing up wrong, okay, pointing the fingers, okay, all right. And then you have justice that is like, okay, we see the catastrophe, but what must be restored? Okay. Justice seeks to balance and to refine and to repair the foundation. Okay. Justice seeks to close the wound. Okay. All right. All right. For future generations. Okay. So that they don't inherit the same mess. Okay. All right. This is why ancestral work must be approached carefully, okay, with wisdom. You have to know what you're doing, okay? You have to sit, you have to pray, you have to fast, you have to seek, okay? Because we're not called to worship the ancestors, okay? And I worked with somebody before where they were doing some ancestral work. They ended up coming to me before they was doing all this before me, and they got to a place where their ancestor became their God, their voice. But this ancestor, you have to understand that some of these ancestors don't mean you well. So when you work with them, you're saying, hey, I'm calling on the divine source, divine, this, that, and the third. I'm calling on my ancestors that wish me well, my spirit guides, right? To sit with me, when you pray and when you seek, you have to make that declaration, and you have to protect yourself. You have to cover yourself and say, those that wish me well, because people that don't, the ones that don't wish you well will try to infiltrate. Okay. All right. You are also not called to fear your ancestors. Okay. That's not the bug right there. That's not what we're doing. We're not fearful of them. Okay. We're not worshiping them. We're not fearful of them. Okay. You are called to understand that river, that stream, that portal, okay, that carried you here, okay, why you're here, okay, at this time, okay. I remember a saying, a tree that forgets its roots eventually weakens and dies, okay. A tree obsessed with its roots never learns how to produce its fruit, okay. So what is your focus, right? What are your focus on? Do you forget that you need that firm foundation, or are you obsessed with just the branch, but the rest of the tree withers away? Okay, balance in this is key. Okay, all right, and collectively we have entered a season. Okay, a season, and there is an urge. Okay, and a need. Okay, where hidden things are being now exposed. Okay, something else. That's a whole different ball game. Okay, but in this construct of the astral shadow work and sitting with your ancestors, family secrets are now surfacing. Okay, bloodline patterns, false identities, and they're collapsing. Okay, which you were told. Okay, things that have been forgotten and are now returning to people's consciousness. The veil around inherited trauma is now becoming it is now becoming thinner, right? Okay, all those secrets that grandmom tried to and uncle and auntie and great grandfather swept underneath the rug, okay, that are in the family, and you seeing generations of people dealing with stuff, and you're like, how, why is this? Okay, why do we have a cycle of destruction? You may got a few that come out and make it and are successful, okay, got some money in the bank, got some houses and some land, but then when you go deeper in their life, there's something about them, or they're distance or judgmental or whatever. So all this, no togetherness, no unity, no peace, right? Then you have those families that are together, right? But they don't never go and mount to anywhere, and all their talents and their gifts die, right? Out with them. And then the next generation does the same thing. Okay? All right? Okay, so there's a season and a need. We're in a season where there's a need for this, okay? Many people think that the Great Awakening is taking place only in a political or economic or only a spiritual context. And it's not. This awakening is ancestral. The ancestors of this earth, the elementals, all your bloodline ancestors, and the ancestors that came before you need you to wake the hell up. Need you to learn to listen, to sit, to be guided, to be in tune. And one thing about technology, and I spoke to somebody the other day about it, some of it is useful. I mean, I'm talking to you on a computer, right? And I'm able to put videos out here, and there's TV and different things. Doctors are able to perform different kind of surgeries because of technology. But technology has made people at the same time spiritually dumb. Okay? It has taken out, if you look back into the early years of society, those people really were in tune with nature, in tune with everything around them, okay? And their spiritual aspect of them, some of them, because some of them is why the spiritual aspect is messed up now. But a lot of them were able to have more encounters, with in the invisible realm and in the natural realm. And we say the invisible, I say the invisible realm, but it really isn't invisible when your mind is open. So many of them were open. Okay. All right. So the awakening is in the ancestral realm. Okay. Entire family lines right now are being summoned. Okay. To remembrance. Okay. What was buried, okay, is now speaking. Okay. What was hidden is now surfacing. And what is demanding attention. Okay. It's like the great migration. Okay. Because what is ignored is demanding attention at this time. I have people walking around in my home, so excuse my eyes if they're wandering. Okay. But this is why so many of my kids enjoy me teaching and listening and stuff. This is something we do all the time. But it's a lot of things that I wish I would have recorded, even just because, like, just random talking. But, well, this is why so many people are suddenly researching their genealogy and discovering their lost relatives. Oh, we got family over in Dubai. We got family over in, I'm in Georgia. I'm from Pennsylvania. But my family some years back found a whole bunch of people with our same bloodline, with our same lineage. And it was a big thing. It's a whole Facebook page about it. I don't know what they've done with it. If any of them got together or anything. But you're discovering lost people, okay? In questioning your beliefs, okay? And uncovering family secrets, okay? Whose child is this? Who stole the cornbread? You feel what I'm saying? It goes deeper than that, but y'all get me? You feel what I'm saying? Because I know my family alone has a lot of secrets, okay, that they like to keep. But for those that are open and spiritual, and we point our finger on, why don't you tell that boy that that's his dad? Okay, that you made. Why don't you stop trying to look like you the good one and just let us know that you made a mistake and that you did the same offense that this one did. So now you're trying to hold it over their head. You feel what I'm saying? Type stuff. There's some mucky things, and they hid it and they didn't speak about it, and this is where we're at. Okay, or they didn't deal with it. Okay, I got nieces and nephews that the other day, and I'm not going to tell too much of my family business, but I got a call, and Spirit has me on this thing where all I can sit back and do is pray, because I haven't said enough. But some things are showing up, and I'm just like, I'm livid. And I'm the one that's telling me, I'm looking and I'm like, why aren't, y'all don't get it. Everybody wants to go to their own corners and watch and say, that's your child, or that's your drama, or that's no, that came from you. And as long as I'm alive on this earth, when it comes to my kids, okay, when it comes to my children, to my grandchildren, okay, I'm here to help aid them on their journey. That's why we have cycles and births and different things like that, because we're here to not to just turn your nose up, judge, point fingers. You did. No, this came down the line, down the pipe. to this person. The water was mucky, okay, and it was able to transfer that. And I was saying to somebody the other day, and I'm just going to put this out there. They were like, why we gotta pay for water if the water is free? It comes from the earth. Well, to go live somewhere where you have a healthy stream that you can keep taking buckets of water to bathe, to wash, or go build yourself a well that you got to make sure is dug properly. You can do that. But other than that, these companies, technology, okay, there was a lot of disease and stuff going through the world. So it's a little logical, because now they created, a system that people can get, even though we know there's some stuff still in there. I mean, but there's people can get water brought to their homes in areas where they could not. They don't have to travel on horse and buggy or on foot to just get a drink of water. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, so you're paying for the company to bring you water in an area that you had not. You didn't dig your own well. You don't have your own lake system. You don't have your own filtration system. So they're doing the work that you ain't doing. And now you got to pay for it, because they got to they have to work to keep it running. You understand what I'm saying? Okay? All right? So, yeah. Okay? Like I said, this is why so many people, because there's awakening within the earth. Okay? The discovery of people that were the inherited beliefs, uncovering the family secrets. Okay? Things are being uncovered. People are now standing up to where they were afraid to confront childhood wounds. They are confronting them, okay? And they are speaking and seeking a deeper spiritual meaning. There has to be an answer to this, okay? I was one as a child. There always had to be an answer. And plus I'm a Capricorn. But there always had to be an answer. I just can't. I can't go along with this. You feel what I'm saying? Part of that too is my great grandmothers told me who I was. My aunt Anna told me who I was. Okay, but this is also why old stories no longer satisfy you. Okay, all right, and that is because the soul is demanding the whole story, not just what you want me to hear, because something ain't right. You understand what I'm saying? This water stinks, right? This milk is curdled. This pie don't taste right because you left out some ingredients, okay? We are now standing up. The ancestors are screaming our name, okay? Truth and honesty and clarity is coming spiritually speaking. We are living in, okay, what many traditions, okay, and I talk about dispensations a lot. I've taught about it, and I'm going to actually do some videos on that, because what Spirit has the Etherian sanctuary to do is to put those things out there so people can have something, whoever is drawn to them. But also for my children, they have a digital life of teachings, right? Because I have a lot of grimoires, I have a lot of journals, I have a lot of books as well. But this is a little bit more intimate, okay? Okay, so we are now in the transitional, okay, dissipation, okay? Okay, and what happens is, when it becomes an unveiling, okay, revelations, where information that had been hidden for generations, with grandma and auntie, like I said, and grandpa, and this and the other, try to, I see your comments, but I'm not going to respond. I will respond to you through DM, through your comments. I do go through them as well, but you have some good comments there. So keep them flooding, keep them coming. Okay. So what they try to cover and sweep under the rug is now becoming accessible, right? It can't be sweet no longer. It's in your face. You got to deal with it. Okay. I have 3 aunties on my dad's side that are still alive, and all of them have a spiritual journey, but they're not in sync spiritually with their beliefs. But there's some things that need to be uncovered. There's some things that I have one auntie who doesn't mind telling it like it is. She sees us going through some things, and if we get if you're one that have a chance to conversate with her and to really talk to her, she's like, oh, well, in this family and this and that. She ain't trying to throw nobody in the head or throw somebody under the bus. But I think she's old enough now to say, you know what? I see this same cycle herself, and it's like, it's got to be dealt with before I leave this earth. You feel what I'm saying? Okay. So the knowledge that was once reserved for just a few is now becoming available, right? And just not through the ones that are willing to speak, but through the spiritual realm, through you sitting with your ancestors, through you being able to listen to their, without judging, right? But sitting in the seat of justice, sitting in the seat of your ancestor, the ancestral realm, and listening to what they have to say. Okay, giving you the answers that you need. Okay, the walls separating both science, spirituality, psychology, history, and ancestral memory are now becoming, okay, and beginning to collapse. It really is. Okay, and this is so important to witness because for many years we have been living in a lie. Okay, even when it comes, like I say, spiritually, and I use spiritually because people are coming to know the truth, right? And that the construct that they were in is no longer serving them. It's no longer resonates with them. Something ain't right. I'm not getting what I want to out of this. So something ain't right. Okay? All right? Okay? People have been walking around confused. Okay? And it's important, to understand the system in which you live in. Okay? The old dispensation, okay, was built on hierarchy, okay, asking, no telling people what was going on, was in our house, stays in our house, but you being molested. You feel what I'm saying? You're being abused. What goes on in our house stays in our house, but I need help. You feel what I'm saying? The old system told you to shut up and just obey. Oh my goodness. But the new system, okay, is emerging. Okay, the old system, okay, separated heaven and earth, spirit from body. Okay, the old system didn't allow God and the forces that be to do what it needed to do, or the old system told you that it wasn't inside of you, it was outside of you, and you had to adhere to that as well. Okay, that is so deep. Okay, and the emerging dispensation, is built upon integration. Okay, many people are coming together. Many of people are, and they say new age, but it really isn't new. Okay, it's old being refined. Okay. This dispensation demands understanding. Okay, and to reconcile. Okay, it seeks wholeness. Okay, okay, and every new idea, though, it is important to understand, is not a true idea. Okay, because when something is emerging, right, those other entities try to still have a control of it, so they'll put something in there to try to trip you up. Okay, so you have to be walk in this walk with wisdom as well to know what the true is. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, this is what is going on is we're all being forced to mature. Okay, to grow the hell up, to finally, y'all are here for a reason, but for generations, and this is why you got stories of the flood, the great flood, the recreation. There's so many different things. This is why we see a lot of different disasters coming. Okay, because why are y'all here if you're not going to do what you're supposed to be doing? You feel what I'm saying? And I don't blame it. Like, I get it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, everybody, some come in your house and they're supposed to be doing something. And you're like, why are you here if you don't know what you're doing? Or why are you here if you're not going to be, I used to employ people. So, like, why did you apply if you was going to get in here and act unseemly or be disrespectful or not do your job and your assignments? I mean, do you need money? Do you need to, you feel what I'm saying? Like, why are you doing so? We're being forced to mature, okay? This emerging, and I love saying that, the calling of this is responsibility, okay? It is knowledge, okay? Without knowledge, there's destruction, correct? Okay? Power without integrity becomes corruption, okay? It's a balance, like I talked about before, that justice, sitting in that justice seat, and we're accountable, and there's balance, right? So we're being called to that seat, okay? Where spiritual gifts without character become manipulation, okay? And ancestral, you can get all the ancestral knowledge you want, but without judging, it becomes a bondage. It becomes something that destroys and keeps the cycle going, okay? All right, this is why, okay, that you need to understand, and we're going to get to ancestral field soon, okay? Your position and your posture is very important in this season. So I'm giving you a little bit of prophetic and teaching at the same time. It's just how it flow, okay? I didn't really have to speak about the dispensation at that point, in this, and that's be another video that I bring up to you. That was something else that we will speak upon when it comes to the dispensation. I just feel God. I just feel Spirit. I feel my ancestors in that, and that is something that I will bring the forefront. Okay, it is important that you know that your posture and your position, okay, positions allow you to become that bridge, okay, between generations, between memory and destiny, spirits and matter, between what was and what is and what shall be, okay? Some of you were born specifically for this work, and I know that you can look at your life and say, what you've been through, and I know some people hold wounds, and that's why we do the shadow work as well, and childhood shadow work and different things like that, to heal. It's a lot of healing taking place, and people are seeking healing, but the thing, some people are getting stuck in their healing as well. They're forever doing childhood work. They're forever doing shadow work or rehearsing what they went through. Okay? And we're calling for maturity. It's time for us to breathe through it, but rise from it. Okay, so yes, you are called for this work. Okay, so yes, if you felt like the black sheep, rejected, pushed aside, and so much more. I mean, we can go down that rabbit hole another day. It is because, yes, you are the foundation. Okay, you are the one that came to interrupt. You are the interruption of the cycle. Okay, all right, yes, yes, I am. Okay, people can point their fingers at you all you want. I mean, I had people point their fingers at me. Oh, you just, yes, because that's what I'm here for. Okay, I also teach about your birth year that you were born, that last number, what that means. Okay, that 9, that 4, that 5, that 7, that 6. Okay, that 8, that 1, that 2. What does that mean? And I'll break that down for y'all as well. I go back through the videos. I'll take mental notes of things that Spirit has brought up and for me to talk about here. I have so much wisdom and knowledge inside of me that sometimes it seems like I'm rambling, but that's just who I am. And I'm excited to be out here doing this because it's amazing. You feel what I'm saying? There's even places that you may go that spirit will try to follow you and send you rejection. I have a friend of mine, and we do the same kind of work. Okay, they do it on a different scale and got billions of dollars for it. Me, I'm just little old me raising my children. Figuring out what we're going to eat every day, paying my bills. God still blessings. We're still blessed. We're not in the street somewhere, we're comfortable, but when it comes to us together or, working together, it's like little squirrel, little pat on the head. You feel what I'm saying? And then I see the magnitude of the people that they have, right? And I see what's being said and being done, and I see the behavior of those people, and I'm like, you can do more. You're giving people, and just doing, people come out of the church and do the same old thing in the next community. And that's what I see. I see it. These people are now, hey babe, there's people are now have platforms. They come out of the church and no longer passing the collection plate. They're passing the Zelle, the Cash App, right? I have mine down there, but hey baby, if you want to donate, then you can. I'm not looking to get rich off of this at all. I want to give. I'm giving you for free. Nobody signed up and I said, well, you can come to this class for this amount of money and then I'll teach this. I didn't do any of that, but you can't get anything from out of them unless you are on a certain financial level. I don't agree with that at all. There's people that are literally dying out here in these streets. And they come to you for help and you put a price tag on it. Okay? Or you give them a little piece, but I'm not going to give you all because you got leprosy you got leprosy? Spiritual leprosy to you? When you the leopard? It gets underneath my skin. I think you can see. Okay? All right? So, but it's very important to understand that you are the interruption of the cycle. Okay? You are the one who speaks what is forbidden. You notice everything, right? Okay? Patterns and cycles and systems that nobody else seems to notice. Okay? You are the one carrying both. I'm somewhere else, so don't worry about it. The wound and the medicine, okay? For your ancestors, for your people, okay? You are the one standing at the crossroads of your generation, okay? Standing there, okay? Your ancestors are not asking you to become them, but to fully become yourself, who you are called to be. It ain't asking you to do what they did, because obviously that's why we're here. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. So you're here carrying, okay, but being who you are in your gift, in your assignment, okay, to successfully walk in your true nature. And that's why there's been a awakening in that as well. Finding your true self, being authentic. You know, these are the words we hear go around. To do what they failed to do. Okay? Because then, now, that one person, you must know that, now that when one person heals, the entire bloodline can move, can breathe, okay? Can rise. And it only takes one person. Okay? Okay? One person to awaken. Okay? And an entire line gains the clarity that it needs. If they choose to. Because everybody has a choice. Okay? Alright? If one person chooses to justice, the future can be different. For the future, for the inherited future, okay? They will inherit the peace, okay, that this one did in this generation to correct and to balance, okay? Very important that you understand that, okay? And that is the sacred journey that we are on, okay? We are a bridge between realms, okay? That is the responsibility that we carry. And I know that, you know, like I've been through a lot. You want, gimme. But baby, we're out here on assignment as well. And when you do and work towards your assignment, you know, I reference the Bible a lot because people are familiar with it. But seek ye the kingdom of heaven, and all those things will be added unto you. Once you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, those things will come. You know, understand what I'm saying? You'll be moving in the space and the parameters that you are supposed to. And just like I just told you about my friend, I see them spiritually, and a lot of the cycle that they are in is the cycle they are called to break and to bring order to. But at the same time, there's certain characteristics and emotional imbalances that is keeping the cycle going. And you see it with who surrounds him, okay, or who surrounds who's birthed through that. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? So whoever's around them, you see that same cycle. And like I said, it don't always have to be blood ancestrals. It also is the you know, it don't have to be your bloodline, okay? When you walk into the ancestral field, when you walk into the ancestral realm, okay? And when we speak about the ancestral field, I'm just going to move on because I'm somewhere else, okay? But when we speak about the ancestral field, I am not talking about something that is made up or invisible or something that is imagination, okay? I am speaking about the living web of memory, of influence, of inheritance, of relationship, of consciousness that exists, okay, between your generations, okay? It exists. It is real. It's able to manifest, right? Think of it as an energetic, psychological, cultural, and spiritual, and biological ecosystem. Okay, all in one, okay? Created for everyone who comes, who came before you, you know, and you'll keep hearing that, right? They came before us, okay? And it is what we now live in, okay? The ecosystem that they created, okay? The ancestral field is not just a place that you can point on a map and say, oh, we're going to go there. You know, like if you're saying, you know, tell your kids, we're going to go Chuck E. Cheese. Well, we know what Chuck E. Cheese is. Okay. It is a reservoir where all your, like the Akashic records, okay, is a storehouse, okay, of stories, beliefs, values, traditions, traumas, gifts, talents, fears, habits, survival strategies and unresolved lessons, where they continue to move through the lineage. It is a portal. It is a system, okay, where these things are able to still live and move, okay. And there are many descriptions, and because I am a Capricorn, okay, I love knowledge, I love truth, and providing people with the information that they need, okay. So I'm gonna give you the whole recipe, okay. As you can see, so if you're enjoying this, thank you so much, okay. I'm not like many of these folks, like I said before, who give you just a little to keep you in their pocket. I want you to succeed. That is my heart, okay. What I have to pour out, I want to be able to do that, okay. And I do that with my own children, and I want to do that with you as well, okay. I may not come out here as consistently as others do, but I'm here, you know. And for us, my other desire is for us to work together, okay, to heal ourselves and to heal others, okay, so that we walk now perpendicularly together in sync, okay. So in these descriptions that I'm giving you about the ancestral field. There's so many different facets of it, okay? Science might observe it. You might look the scientific term up if you're a scientist. Parts of the ancestral field through your genetics, your epigenetics, okay? Your family systems, the theory behind that, okay? Any kind of behavioral patterns. Okay, I'm a psychologist, so I deal with a lot of psychology when it comes to inherited trauma. Okay, so psychology and science kinds that goes together. You can't have one without the other. That's why the FBI has the forensic team. There's psychologists there. There's scientists there. You understand what I'm saying? Because these patterns matter, okay? All right? And the psychology of it may describe it as an unconsciousness or unconscious family dynamic, okay? Spiritual traditions, systems may describe it as ancestral memory, lineage consciousness, or okay? A communion of generations, okay? In different languages, it's the same phenomenon, the ancestral field, okay? The ancestral field is why certain strengths, okay, certain abilities seem to run in the family. It is the artistic ability, to play music or to draw or to anything like that. Leadership qualities, gifts of healing, right? Your spiritual gifts of prophecies, gifts of intuitivism, right? Entrepreneurial instincts, spiritual callings, and even recurring struggles, traumas that flow through the family, and I've been dealing with this recently, and it's weird too, because I always, when I counsel people, I go down to the rabbit hole. We got to go down the rabbit hole to see why we're here now. I want to know it all, because when I can know it all, I can put you in a seat of justice, teach you not how to judge or to point the finger or to blame the blame game, right? But get you to fully understand and understand and overstand who, why, what, where, when, you feel what I'm saying, and how we overcome it. Okay? This is also why certain family wounds continue repeating, okay? Until someone becomes conscious enough to interrupt the cycle. All right? Okay? And that, because you're listening to this, that one is you. Okay? All right? Okay? So within the ancestral field, are voices, okay, of the remembered and the forgotten ancestors. So now we're getting into the meat. Man, after this video, we will get into the meat of breaking down who they are, how they are, why they are, where they are, okay? So this astral field has the voices of those that were celebrated, those that were hidden, those that were downtrodden, those that were remembered, those that were forgotten. The healed and the wounded are there. Okay, it's important to understand that every ancestor leaves an imprint. Okay, some leave blessings, some leave warnings, some leave unfinished lessons waiting for the future generations to transform them. Okay? All right? And there are some who do not wish you well. I think I told you that already. Okay? Okay? So from an alchemist and a prophetic perspective, because that's who I am, okay, the ancestral field functions like rivers, like the streams, like the lakes, like the rain, okay, like the ocean. It is it is so massive, it is so grand, okay? And many people talk about it in different ways, the ancestral field or spiritual systems, okay, hey babe, that we are in, and every ancestor, but it is important to understand that every ancestor has their finger in the pot. Okay, when we talk about this ancestral field, everyone has dipped their toe, their finger, they have poured into this. Okay, blood has been spilled and shed into this system, this body of water, wherever it may be, whatever it may be. Okay? Okay? So by the time it reaches you, we talk about that filtration system. That is why they supposed to clean the water. But by the time this spiritual water gets to you, okay, it contains thousands of stories, decisions, victories, failures, prayers, sacrifices, and dreams. So much. You know what I mean? It's all up in there. A ball and plethora, and it's been festering. Okay? Okay? And you cannot change. I want you to understand that. You cannot change what was poured before you. Okay? All right? You cannot take it out. It's like having some water and somebody pour some vinegar in it. Well, you can't take the vinegar, you can't separate the vinegar from the water. Okay, but you can add something in there to make it taste a little better. Okay, to refine it. Oh my God. So that it's digestible. Okay, so that you decide what you will add before it flows to the next generation. Okay, like I said, now we're getting into the meat. Okay, I'm very tedious. I like to go through detail. Okay, so that we get it, the whole thing. Okay, all right. So you whatever you add in there flows to the next generation. Okay, all right. So you can turn around and change the effect of what was. Heal, cleanse, and restore. I mean, you can't change what was put in there, right? But you can turn it around. Okay? You can heal. You can redirect. You can restore. You can rise. Okay? Um, what is this concept that is normal or for families to be, that it is normal for families to be destructive? I don't understand that. Okay? It's not normal. Okay? It's not normal for us to be destructive. It is not normal for us to fail or to always be broken or to keep going through the same cycles, never winning. What is the point? What would be the point of all of this? If that's what we're only here to do, to keep failing or keep being broken, keep harming. Okay? People are so content with the mess, and everything in the heavens and the ancestral realm is screaming for us to finally mature, to finally get it. Okay? It is very important. This is why occupying the seat of justice is so important. Okay? You stand at the crossroads now between the memory and the destiny. Baby, this is what we did, but this is what we need you to do. Okay? You are the ancestors, and now you are the descendant. Okay? You are the inheritance. Okay? The choice. Okay? All right? And you inherited some things that weren't quite right. Okay? So now, what are you going to do with it? Okay? The ancestral field delivers the inheritance. Okay? Okay? But it's you to determine how that inheritance will be used. And baby, I've been through some shit in life. Okay? I can go down the rabbit hole and let you know all of it. But what I chose to do with it is why I'm still here today. Okay? And if you watching this and been through some things and you sitting here and saying, I'm still here today, okay? When you may sometimes feel like you're failing upward, okay? That's okay. It's because you have a strength and an ability in you to keep thriving and to keep moving. But you didn't always have the answers, okay, on what you do, okay? It is possible for you to work your inheritance or whatever has come down that pipeline properly, okay? All right? Okay? So, so to recap what I just said, the ancestors put their hands in a pot, right? And it's up to us to move, to move, to do what they did not do, okay? Most people think that the ancestors are just dead, sitting somewhere in the unseen, waiting to be remembered. People play around with drums and systems and, oh, she looks just like old, Sadie. Oh, remember? Oh, she must have got that, or they've been here before. They play around with it, okay? All right? But that's a childlike understanding of a much deeper mystery. Okay? You can't play with it. Okay? Our ancestors are not merely people. Okay? They are offices. They are functions within the living architecture of creation. Okay? And it's very important that you get that. Every ancestor carries a specific frequency, a responsibility, a lesson, a memory, and an assignment that continues to move through generations. I am going to go over next about 80 types of ancestral and elemental ancestors in the upcoming videos. Okay? Always gets deep and it gets real. Okay? And some videos will go through, I'm trying to compile them, but still give you the meat effectively, not rush them. I'm going to work this slow so you can get it all, okay? And I'll give you some here, even now, okay? But I will break them down later, okay? So what I'm about to do now, now that we talked about justice, judgment, the ancestral field, what to do, how to do, why, different things like that. Now I'm about to take you on a journey And you can, I don't know how to do that old fancy work where people have the things pop up on the screen or anything. So if you listen effectively, you can kind of write this down, or maybe take some notes or whatever. Okay. All right. So we have the ancestral bloodline. Okay. Right. The bloodline ancestors. Okay. They are the ones that carry the DNA of the inherited family gifts, the inheritance, the family wounds. Okay. Through them come family traits, talents, fears, uh, um, illnesses. You go to the doctor, they're like, well, we need your family history, right? People don't get it. All these years is right up in our face about ancestral. Then we got ancestry.com. It's right up in our face. Okay, people need to understand it even more. Okay, so the bloodline ancestors give you, all of this, and the tendencies that we carry, the different tendencies that we carry. Okay, in this realm. Okay, we work with them by understanding our family history. You have to. Okay, in this realm, we work with them by learning the lessons that they left behind. Um, their role is to provide, hey babe, the roots for you. Okay, and our role is to determine what fruit is to grow, and what from the roots, and what is also meant to um, be cast away from. Okay, you have the maternal ancestors. Okay, their ancestors are the keepers of the memory, the intuition, and the protection, and the survival and the wisdom. Okay, all right. You have the paternal ancestors that are the builders of structure and protection and provision and leadership. Okay. So I'll get into what your role is and all that into the next video, because I was going to go deeper, but I'm not going to give you everything here. You have the forgotten ancestors, those whose names vanished or abandoned or erased for certain, or enslaved or hidden, right? You have the child ancestors that carry the innocence, the destinies and unrealized potentials. Okay, the healer ancestors that carry the medicine and the knowledge and the wisdom, the midwives, spiritual wisdom, survival techniques, the healing, the art of healing. And you have the warrior ancestor. Okay, the protection, the courage, the discipline. I falls with the paternal, the sacrifice. Then you have the priest and priestess ancestors that carry that mantle, that stewardship. They maintained the rituals, the traditions, the ceremonies, the laws, right? Then you have the teacher ancestors, and that, the historians, the storytellers, the memory preservers, the fact finders. You feel what I'm saying? The musician ancestor, which was kept the vibration and the melody and the song. The builder ancestor preserves manifestation. The farmer ancestor preserves sustainability. And this may sound mundane to you, but they are. I'm going to go into the next videos and tell you why they are so profound. Because every ancestor occupies a seat within your council. People want to talk about the council and the great council of your lineage. Okay, there are spiritual ancestors as well. Understand what I'm saying? They are not necessarily blood relatives, like I said before. Okay, they are the prophets, the mystics, the sage, and the wisdom keepers, and the saints, the philosophers, the revolutionaries, the healers, and the teachers, whose teachings shaped your soul or your world. Okay, so it's important we have all of this, how to work with them and things like that. I'm going to teach you more about that even later. Like I said, I want these videos to be what they are, and how Spirit has taught me to speak about them. Okay, all right. Okay, so it's very important that a person may descend biologically from one lineage, right? While descending spiritually from another. Okay, and it's very important to people can go into, like I say, people always talk about the Akashic records and how they've had those experiences, but they met people that weren't even of their lineage, right? Oh, I met this person. I met this person. They might, say somebody that was part of history. Maya Angelou was there. Oh, I got to talk to Gandhi, this, and the other, because those are the elements and those are the ancestors that are meant for you to, well, you're drawn to it. You're drawn to it. They are meant for you to work with them. Okay? This is why someone can feel connected to different traditions and teachings and wisdoms and streams and that existed thousands of years before they were even born. I'm one of them. I pull from so much because that's how Spirit has me to be. Okay. Then there are land ancestors. Okay. And it is important that, like I said, the trees, the land, the vibration within this ecosystem remembers the soil. Everything has a vibration. Everything has an history. Somebody was sitting where I'm sitting. Maybe this house wasn't here, but they were sitting here. You feel what I'm saying? Okay. There's remembered prayers and tears and spoken words and prophecies. Okay. Directions. Why were you called to a certain place? It's very important to understand that. I have another friend, other than the friend that I mentioned earlier, who's traveling back and forth to Dubai and to Ghana, and he tells an experience of seeing an angel, which when he tells the story, I'm like, that was an ancestor, but he said it transported him to another place. But he's been called to the different places, and baby, it looks good on him. Okay, the transformation that I've seen. I've known this person for a very long time, and it looks good on him. You feel what I'm saying? And you begin to just fit. Okay, he understands and understands this, what I'm telling, all this that I'm telling you, and has able to move in it. You feel what I'm saying? And work it. Okay. Oh man. Okay. This realm. Okay. For the land ancestors. Okay. These are people who lived and fought and died and cultivated and protected and prayed and all of that within this land. Okay. Okay. So then we have, again, we're back talking about the seats of justice. Okay. And why that is so important to understand when you're dealing with these ancestors a few of them that I just named. Okay. That just opens the door. I gave you those to open the door for you to even go down the rabbit hole. And I did tell you there's about 80 that I will go over in the upcoming days, so that or weeks, so that you can get a full understanding of who they are, so that you're not lost in what I'm teaching as well. Or you can just take it and do what you need to do, your own studying, and if you have something that you want to contribute, I'm more than willing to open up the floor for that. So again, like I said, now we're going to go back to the seat of judgment. Okay. And like I said, this is where most people lose the balance. Some become obsessed with the ancestors. And some people just reject them entirely. Like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. It do got everything to do with you. Okay. Okay. Both positions. Okay. The obsessiveness or the rejection creates the imbalance. Okay? All right? All right? The justice position is meant to be the pillar. Okay? Okay, the justice position says this to you. It says, I honor the past without becoming imprisoned by it. Okay? All right? I'm a honor, the wisdom, okay, and receive the wisdom without having to surrendering my sovereignty, who I am. Okay, I'm not going to get obsessed and caught up, and I'm sure enough not rejecting it. I recognize it. Okay, I acknowledge these wounds. Okay, because sometimes you sit with the ancestors and you have to be grounded because you're like, oh, or I watch a lot of paranormal shows, and one is Zach and Cody. Another one is Selena, Spooky Boo, and Chris. And I watch them, and sometimes it's very emotional dealing with the ancestral or the history or the wounds, or having to acknowledge the wounds, okay, through them, what those people have gone through. And I watch them go through some emotional things. And I'm also sitting at home watching, feeling the same thing. So, a lot of what they go encounter have been real. So it's okay to acknowledge the wounds without building an identity around them. You don't have to become it, okay? It's okay to preserve the memory without worshiping the memory, okay? That is very important, okay? Justice that is sacred, okay, brings a tether, brings a cord between the realms. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, it has to be balanced. And when you occupy the seat of justice, again, I said you become that highway, that bridge, that link, okay? All right? Where you are able to move in the ancestral realm, okay? And also to the people that are alive. You stand and you become to stand in the center, okay? And like I said about these paranormal people, sometimes they're in there and they're becoming that beacon, that center, okay? You become the balance, okay? All right, the ancestors can't physically complete their assignments, their unfinished assignments, okay? And then sometimes, some cases, the right descendant has not yet arrived. But what we do is balance the scale so that it's so we make the right choices so that these things can flow the way that they're supposed to flow. Okay, it's very important to understand that. Okay, all right. We're like the court of correction. Okay, and it's like I've been through so much, and I still gotta do this, and this is too much. It's not too much. It's really easy, even though this video may seem long, but it's really simple. Okay, the detail and the explaining it to get you to understand it seems extensive, but it's really, really simple. Okay, you just have to understand that you are where healing happens. Okay, you are, okay, where wisdom, you are the action to bring wisdom into fruition. Okay, you are where the karma that's been in the bloodline, okay, is now conscious and saying, okay, you coming through, right? Okay, you are the pattern, okay, all right, okay, it's very important to understand this, okay, you either choose to continue, or you continue to end that pattern, okay, all right, you are the key, you are the tool, okay, and that's why it's very important to understand why ancestral work and understanding what types of ancestors we're working with and how to work with them. Okay? Why it matters. Because it does matter. Okay? So many people have been going around and seeking information, taking this pill for that one. That's not the answer. You understand? The answer is for us to really rise within who we are and to understand, to sit with spirit, to understand the direction that we need to go. Okay? It isn't a bunch of fancy antics, parlor tricks, here's this glass, put 2 matches in it and see who's been working. If there's a curse on you or work. Okay, you told them to do it. When they finally do it, what are they supposed to do with it? It's so much out here. You feel what I'm saying? And there's so many different corrections. This is not a game. Okay? Okay? And it's not that I don't want you to think that the dead need you, that they're on their next assignment. My daughter, Princess, she is, I don't know if you see her behind me. I have the shroud behind me. But she's transitioned. And it's not that she doesn't need me in her next assignment. There's nothing that I can help her with, right? But what I can do is make sure that the work, the lineage, and stuff about her from my daughter continues, right? There's going to be grandkids that I'm going to have, and she's going to pop up. Somebody's going to pop up and have to pick up, huh? And I'm going to have to be able to recognize it. My kids are going to be able to recognize that and know what to do with it. You understand what I'm saying? They want us to succeed. Some of them want us to succeed. Those that wish us well want us to succeed. Okay? All right? Because they understand that the future, the healing, all that needs us. Those that's here, that's living in. We're on assignment. We had a contract. We came here, was birthed into this. And we're not just here to watch TV, eat popcorn, and go to bed. We're not here to do that. We're not here just to work 9-to-5 jobs, fight with people, be beat up upon, and go to bed. No, we're here to work our mojo, okay? Our magic, our abilities to be successful in the progression of this world, okay? We are living in what I call the dispensation of unveiling, okay? And I told you before, okay, that I'm going to get into dispensations even more. I love talking about them, okay? All right? And this is not a new concept. This is a concept that's been spoken about through generation, okay? Hebrews and mystics and psychologists speak about them in different ways, okay? You got epigenetics from scientists. You got veils thinning. You got generational traumas and recovering history, right? From genealogists. You have Ancestry.com. You've heard these terms over and over and over again, okay? And all that they are describing are the same phenomena through this dispensation of unveiling, okay? The veil of ignorance is being, and I would go into some astrology and different things like that, but I want to stay focused. The ignorance, okay, is breaking, okay? Like I said, the family secrets are coming to the top of the surface. Okay? Systems that have been corrupt are struggling. Okay? They're being exposed. Okay? And what has been hidden in your bloodline, you know, everything's rising. Everything's rising up. Everything is being uncovered, unveiled. Okay? All right? Everything, all right, is being brought to the the forefront. Okay? In this dispensation. Okay? All right? It is very important that you should understand the scroll that was handed unto you through the ancestors, okay, and how to work with them, and how to heal, and how to move, okay, all right, and the world is waiting for you to write the next chapter. And Spirit is watching to see whether you will repeat the same history or redeem it. Will you take the red pill or the blue pill? What are you going to do with it? There's a situation that I've had to deal with, even with my own family, and it had to resurface. So now it's time to deal with it and know how people are handling it in their street, you know, because we are all branches of the family tree. You feel what I'm saying? So are you doing okay on your branch, little bird? Or are you doing okay on your leaf, little, you know what I'm saying? So it's important for us to understand all of this, because this next dispensation needs you to successfully move, okay, and successfully rise. I don't know. I know that you've seen me transition through this whole conversation probably many of times. You've seen my rocking. You've seen me have to breathe through some things because Spirit is always speaking. I always so open and willing to do what. And then my house was moving. So, you know, different energies and different things came into the room. My guides, my angels, and just that. So there's so much that Spirit has me on my own assignment to doing. And this is one of them. And I enjoy doing it. I have a family member now who's in a coma. So I've been channeling and talking to her. And, you know, it's a lot. But I'm here for it. And I'm just happy that you could show up and enjoy and meet and stay and take your notes and do what you need to do. If anybody wants to talk to me further or have any questions or add anything to the conversation, my information is at the bottom of this. It's been scrolling across the screen this whole entire time. And that is info.ruachascend@yahoo.com. If you would like to donate for my time, for my energy, for my gift, you can. And I don't care if it's 50 cents. Like, it doesn't matter. But if you would like to give back to what I have poured out, then that is solely up to you. That information as well is at the bottom of the screen. It was such a pleasure being able to speak with you today, and having this time. I did get up and was like, oh, I got to get this out today. And there's so many other things that Spirit dropped in my spirit yesterday that I got written and scribbled down some places that I'm get out here to you guys. I'm not the kind of person that I just turn on the camera when I have a thought. You know, wisdom is allowing it to sit and allowing it to digest, and allowing Spirit to give you the whole scroll as well. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed today. Thank you so much for coming in and being in tune with this teaching. Okay, my name is Duchess the Spiritual Doula, and my book Shadow Work, Ancestral Trauma, and the reason why it says volume 2 because it's a whole volume of shadow work, different things that I've done, but that is on Barnes and Noble. But I wish you all well, and to have a great rest of your day. Grace and peace. It's time for me to go and ground myself and finish listening to what is being said. So this is Duchess Doula. Many of you know me, many of you don't, many of you might get with me, many of you won't. That is your business. Grace and peace. See you in the next video.